Happy New Year, everything 90s fan, and welcome back to another nostalgic trip down 90s memory lane. Today's episode is the season 4 opener of my 90s versus 2000s series, and the first category is dance trends. If you are a new listener, hello, and I'm your host, Shalina. I created Everything 90s podcast for folks who grew up in the 1990s like me. And in each episode, I take you on a nostalgic trip down 90s memory lane, reminiscing about the highs of that decade. One of my favorite parts of podcasting is connecting with you all. So whether you're a longtime listener or just joining us for the first time, I'd love to chat with you over at Club 90s, the official Everything 90s fan club. You could find the link to join in today's show notes, and I hope you enjoy this episode. Today, I want to welcome returning guest Brittany from Hindsight Podcast. She'll be representing Team 90s. Welcome, Brittany.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Always a fun time to hang out with you, Shalina, on the podcast.
Definitely. Super excited you're here. And also another returning guest, Kristen. She'll be representing Team 2000s. Welcome, Kristen.
Hi. So happy to be here with you too.
Kristen is the host of A Little Bit A Lot podcast. You'll remember her from our Casper episode. A lot of laughs and a lot of jokes in that episode. So if you haven't heard that one, check it out after you listen to this one. All right, so we're going to dive right in here. I will review the game rules and layouts in case if this is your first time tuning into this type of episode. So 90s versus 2000s is a series where the two decades go head to head in a friendly battle to determine which one gave us the best in a given category. Today's category, as I mentioned, is dance trends. The two contenders, Team 90s and Team 2000s, will try to convince you, the listeners, why their decade gave us the best dance trends. There are 5 rounds where they will present their arguments. After each round, there's what's called a free period. This is when each team will have the opportunity to respond to their opponent's arguments. And listeners, you have 1 week to vote for the decade you think won the battle based on the selections that Brittany and Kristen bring forth. And at the end of the week, the team with the most votes is crowned the winner. And this year, the voting will be taking place on Spotify. So make sure you remember to vote after you're finished listening to this episode. All right, so that's all the rules and the layout. So we'll begin with the opening statements, and Team 90s will begin with their opening statement.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I'm excited to represent the 90s. So, dear esteemed listeners of the Everything 90s podcast, and I say that with the emphasis on the Everything 90s of the title of the podcast, I want to set the scene for you all, okay? Let's just come with me on a journey. The year is 1995. You and your girl just got ready in your cutest fits. Your hair is laid and you are headed to the hottest party of the year. You get there and the room is sweaty, okay? The room is sweaty. The speakers are bumping. Maybe it's Bill Bev DeVoe. Maybe it's some Full Force. Maybe it's some Salt and Pepper. And everybody is on the dance floor. Now picture yourself in this moment, okay? This is the energy that the 90s brings to everything, and especially the dance trends. In the 2000s, maybe you was vibing at the club or maybe in somebody's house in your 3-piece business suits, but the 90s was an entire vibe and set the foundation for the trends that are still alive decades later. Thank you all.
Thank you, Brittany. Team 2000s, your opening statement.
Listen, I respect the 90s down, but me being, Kristen from the A Little Bit A Lot podcast, I feel like when you are born in that 96 era, I was 4 years old. You know what I'm saying? Like going into the 2000s. So as much as I do have a deep respect and appreciation for the 90s, us late 90s babies really thrive in the 2000s era. So, I feel like at the end of the day, the 2000s is really honestly the grand supreme, just for the fact that it was such a phenomenon. Everybody's wondering about Y2K, us entering into this new era of the unknown. Will we have flying cars? Will we have shuttles, space shuttles in the sky? No. We're going to have Britney Spears. We're going to have NSYNC. We're going to have Christina Aguilera. And at the end of the day, we're also going to have new movements that are created and soaring in the Black community for dance trends that are using an influence from the 90s, but doing it better. So I want to thank the founding fathers of the 90s for giving us what we had, but the 2000 used it, shook it, flipped that thing down, flipped it and reversed it, and turned it up in a way that can't be matched. So therefore, I'm not saying that the 2000s are better, but am I? I think so.
Wow. Okay. All right.
All right. I see. Have a formidable opponent. Okay, I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
Kristen did not come to play. Quoting Missy Elliott.
Your intro took Shalina out of commission.
My cheeks. Okay. Oh, man. Thank you, Team 90s and Team 2000, for your opening statements. We're going to begin with round one with your first dance trend pick. Team 90s, you are up. What is your first pick?
Okay, so remember how I was setting the scene for everybody just moments ago? We back in that party, y'all. We still there. Walk with me here. So imagine you're on the party, you're on the dance floor. Everyone is gathered around you in a circle, okay? And you and your bestie get challenged to a dance-off. Y'all pulling out your moves, back and forth, taking turns, and it's like the final round, and you pull out the big guns, the kid and play. Okay, and this is the first move that I'm bringing out, the first dance trend for the 90s. So kid and play, most people will probably know this, but hip hop duo from New York in the 80s and 90s, they showed off this dance in their video, Do This My Way. And it's basically the Charleston with a little extra something sprinkled in. And then it was featured in the iconic house party dance scene, House Party, as I said. And this era, this movement, this moment people have been trying to recreate this to this very day. Like, not only just the actual dance, but the energy of it, the vibe of it is everything that we have all wanted and aspired to be. And I don't know who among us has not either seen and or attempted and maybe even fallen over trying to do this at a party, showing off. When it works, it works. When it doesn't work, it's also very funny to watch. So this is my first pick for the 90s dance trends, the kid and play.
Love that. All right, Team 2000s, what's your first pick?
That was a good pick. Okay, my first pick is a revolutionary song that I personally feel united the nation. There hasn't been up until 2006, a song that has united America in this way for a very, very long time. We are talking about Blacks, whites coming together. Is this an attempt to end racism? Maybe. Maybe. Because the amount of people of non-color that I've seen also attempt to do this dance is very real. So I want to speak and say that this song holds weight and volumes to this day in 2024. So much so that, as the lyrics say, West Side walk it out, South Side walk it out, East Side walk it out, North Side walk it out. We are hitting every single point of the nation and bringing us together. And therefore, I present Walk It Out by Unk in 2006. What song do you know was bringing every map point of America together in this way? Everyone was walking it out. Grandmothers dislocating their hips on those dance floors, really turning it up and really bringing it. Every family reunion, I've walked it out. I have walked it out on so many dance floors, so many parties, and it is the song that you play that's going to bring everyone of every color together. And that, my friends, that's the effect of the Walk It Out. Also, I just want to note that this song is so iconic in the fact that it was performed at the first annual BET Hip Hop Awards. So, there you have it. Walk It Out. An iconic dance.
Thank you. All right. So first round, Kid and Play and Walk It Out. So right now it's free period. So both of you could respond to each other's picks.
Okay, Brittany can go first.
Okay. I mean, you picked a heavy hitter, but I anticipated that. So Team 90s, we not thrown off. We not thrown off. And yes, I too have walked it out at many a function. But I just think when you talk about overreaching, that Kid and Play. You do the Kid and Play first, then you transition to the Walk It Out. But I'm not mad at the Walk It Out, because I I'm a dancer, and then oh my gosh, in high school we had like dance performances because we had like a dance group in our school, and I have a very strong memory of walking it out on the stage in the business casual wear. Like, what a time! Yes, that was our outfits for the dance.
That's so iconic.
Yes. That's all I'll say on that memory.
We love the business casual.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Honestly, and I respect the Kid and Play of it all. You know, I did not, unfortunately, I wasn't, into that era until later on in my adulthood when I went back and I said, let me take a look at the classics, watch the movie. And like your point is valid. In 2024, they're still trying to replicate the aura and the energy that dance gives. It is an iconic classic, but at the end of the day, it's like, is Walk It Out. I bring up the point of the uniting the nation. I would take unity over house party.
But should we all be united? Maybe that's a question for another podcast. I don't know.
Oh.
Woo! And cutting to commercial.
No. This episode is brought to you by. Should we? Valid.
Oh man,
Extremely valid.
Funny. Oh man, woo. Well, for me, so let me just clarify. Kid and Play, that's the one with the foot movement.
Yeah, you step up,
you step back.
Okay, step up, and you hop around,
and then you okay, and then Walk It Out is just the when you do that with your hands and your foot. Okay, yeah, I definitely remember doing Walk It Out in high school. Kid and Play, I definitely tried that before, but that was like in recent times, like in adult years when like COVID 2020 happened, when everyone was going back to nostalgic things. That's when I came across Kid and Play, but both good strong picks. And yeah, so if there's no other comments, we'll head to round 2. So for round 2, 2000s will begin.
Right. I just want you to think about the essence of 2005, 2006. This is the prime era where everyone, like I said, is walking it out. So we are already on a buzz. We're already on a high, coming out the gate with dance after dance. And this is the prime time where everyone wants to shuffle. They want to A-Town stomp. They want to do this. They want to do that. And who comes to save the day and says, you know what? We've walked it out. but I think it's time for us to lean as Dim Franchise Boys. The lean with it, rock with it, personally changed my life in this era. I was in about 5th grade at this time. And I feel like this is such a strong contender because even if you can't you can't walk it out. I'm sorry. Everybody can lean with it, rock with it. If you can't walk it out, you can lean. And I feel like that's what makes this a number 2 contender. Because like I mentioned before, the grannies, they may have hip problems that can't walk it. You can lean it. So just for the functionality of the dance and the accessibility component, I feel like makes this such a heavy hitter for the 2000s. It's also iconic because it went number 1 on the hot rap charts. And it's also just an iconic dance and song just for the fact that in 2024 to this day, it is still a sampled song and dance. 21 Pilots, R&B group girl, R&B girl group Cherish, Monica, the iconic singer Monica, Juice WRLD have all sampled this song. I mean, I don't really know what else you could want with a lean with it, rock with it. I just feel like it's kind of like the grand supreme of simplicity, but at the same time, it's like chef's kiss.
Hey, thank you. Team 90s, what's your second pick?
Okay, so Kristen's talking about an alternative, if you will. If you can't quite walk it out, you can lean, and that may be fair. But for this dance trend that I'm going to pick, I need everyone to get a little bit more limber. Okay, I need you just to do a little stretch. I need you to just side to side. I need you to get the hamstrings, get the hips. Okay, because for this dance, you're gonna need to be a little flexible. You need to put a little. You gotta be loose. Okay, so my pick for round 2, popularized by the 69 Boys in 1994, is the Tootsie Roll. If I immediately say to you, cotton candy, sweet and low, let me see that Tootsie Roll, you know what to do. Okay, you know what to do. Make the Tootsie Roll, dip, baby dip. All of this, you put this on at a party. You don't even need to put it on a party. You can just put it on your car, drive down the street with it blaring, and immediately everybody will know what to do. Okay? Instantly. And before we had the era of the endless slides and every song telling you exactly what to do, we had the Tootsie Roll. We had a song giving you instructions. It said what you needed to do, step by step, slide to the left, to the left, to the right, to the right. It told you everything. And so, if you went to a party in this era and you didn't hear this song, it was time to ask the DJ, like, what are you doing? Are you plugged in? So my choice for round 2 is the Tootsie Roll.
Both great picks. Free period. So, Kristen, you could begin.
The Tootsie Roll is an extremely valid choice for number 2. A real heavy hitter of the 90s. I do know that there are quite a few millennials that are still hitting the Tootsie Roll. But to my defense, if I'm just going to come from, the sake of representing the 2000s, it's a bit dated now. Haven't seen
Not
anyone hit the Tootsie
dated.
Roll in
You know
quite a
why?
while.
Because the children have lost the recipes. That's why. Because I saw on TikTok, people, the youth, if you will, are doing some kind of dance to the song, but it's not the Tootsie Roll. I don't know what these kids are doing nowadays. I don't know.
Word to Wendy Williams. What was that? What was that?
We got to teach the children. Okay, we're losing the recipes.
Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, I just still feel like there's still some elements of the lean with it, rock with it in today's dances. So just, because I gotta go with my side, I still feel like the lean with it, rock with it is supreme.
But it's sounding like if you didn't have to go with your side, you'd be on my side.
No, because my point stands with the accessibility of it all. The accessibility of it all.
I mean, that's a hard argument. I am not gonna go up against accessibility. Especially as I'm a little older. I'm 91. Me and Shalina, I think we talked about this on the last podcast. So I'm getting, I'm feeling the pain in a little bit, and I may need to. I can only walk it out, but for so long. So I do need to switch to lean with it, rock with it. But some people was doing that dance so hard, they popped something. I don't know. I will say though, I did write down that phrase: if you can't walk it out, you can lean and
lean with it, rock with it.
Someone
put it on a t-shirt.
Please put it on a t-shirt. Please, with your podcast on there. Please, Kristen.
My official merch, my very first.
Yes, do it. Even if it's limited edition, just for when this episode's out. Oh, my cheeks. Oh man, too funny. Yeah, again, both great picks. I think I have more of a connection to Lean With It, Rock With It, but I do love the song Tootsie Roll. It's a jam. I can't do it though. It's kind of like the butterfly, right? Where you like your legs go out, in and out, your knees. Yeah, I need to practice that. Maybe that'll be
You can get it.
Yeah,
I believe in you.
That'll be one of my goals for this year.
Yeah, I mean, you do have to get those knees ready for that dance.
Yeah,
that's further going to support
knees.
my.
I'm so curious what the other 3 picks are, because some of them 2000s you also needed knees. I don't know.
Oh my. Okay. Team 90s, you're up for your 3rd pick.
Okay. Okay, so for this choice for round 3 on the Everything 90s podcast, for the 90s side, I'm going with the dance that has origins that are kind of all over the place. Some people are saying, maybe from the 70s, from one of Fela Kuti's dancers. Some people are saying Paula Abdul, Janet Jackson, Bobby Brown. Who can really say? What we can agree on is that this dance was everywhere in the 90s, the Running Man. From Fresh Prince to like Rhythm Nation, it was rare to find a music video, a dance party, TV show that did not feature the Running Man in some shape or fashion. This is a dance for the uncoordinated people out there, okay? Not that I'm particularly one of them, but for those people, if you could not get the roll of the sissy roll, if you could not quite get the rhythm down of the Kid and Play, you could get the Running Man, because it's just the steps and the arms. It was so widespread and so easy to do that even people who could not figure out some of the other dances, even the ones we've mentioned so far on both years, on both decades, were doing it at their parties. Like, I think Vanilla Ice even put it in their videos. I know they on the stage with it. So we've seen people do it on beat. We've seen people do it off beat. And yet you still know what it is. The Running Man is iconic. And that's my pick for round 3.
All right. Classic Running Man. Team 2000s. What's your 3rd pick?
Well, I just want to start by saying that this one, out of every pick that I've had so far, might be the biggest dance fad of the 2000s, period. You thought Lean With It, Rock With It was crazy. You thought the Walk It Out was crazy, but no. According to Wikipedia, this one is by far the biggest dance fad since the Macarena, with an instructional YouTube video for the dance surpassing 27 million views by early 2008. And let's think about that. 2008, 27 million views is historic, right? This comes from the man who says that he was the first to do everything. I just saw a video of Timothée Chalamet cranking this with Brittany Broski just a couple of days ago in 2024, and it is the first song ever to sell 3 million digital copies in the US. I give you Crank That by Soulja Boy. Okay, if we're going to go there and we're going to talk about the 2000s, you cannot mention this era without talking about Soulja Boy. Okay, this song, I feel like, in this dance has shaped so many of our childhoods and continues to shape so many of us because it's still sampled. You can still turn this on in the club today and people are gonna, it's iconic. Super simple dance moves, easy to follow, history making. I rest my case. Crank That by Soulja Boy will always and forever be one of the reigning supremes of dance trends, I would say, in history, regardless of 90s or 2000s. He did that. Whether we feel good or bad about Soulja Boy's personal choices and the things that he does and the way he treats women, word to Love and Hip Hop era, shameful. I gotta give credit where credit is due. He ate that dance up. Thank you.
Okay. Another great round here. Oh man, I totally forgot about Crank That. When you said that, you're spitting out the stats, and I was like, what dance move is this?
The build up.
Stats. I was like, oh yeah. Great one. And the Running Man, classic. Okay, free period. This time, is it Kristen that's starting? Free period?
I can start.
Okay.
I would say that the Running Man, you did eat with that. I'm not even gonna cap on that. The first thing that comes to my mind is the Will Smith of it all. But it's just like, dang, if we're gonna go band for band comparing it to Crank That, I gotta give it just off of the legendary aura behind that dance in itself. Crank That Soulja Boy. I don't know. I just don't really know if I have too much to say with a rebuttal comparing the two.
And that's fair. That's fair. You picked. That's a good pick. That's a solid pick. A solid round 3 pick for 2000s. But if we're gonna talk about maybe accessibility, Crank That did have, it had the basic, but it was a song and it had more steps. And if you really got all those steps for the rest of it, which I was in that camp of people who tried to learn the whole thing. It was cool. But the Running Man, it's just one move. It's easy to pick up. You don't have to remember the song, the lyrics. You don't really need to have coordination, although you should. But you don't really need to for the Running Man as much as you need to for Crank That. However, I will give you flowers because, I have some very specific cringy middle school, high school memories that relate to that. So that's a transport me right in time kind of song, and I'm like, ooh, what a time! What a time!
It's a time for sure, definitely. Oh. All right. Okay, let's head into round 4 with Team 2000s. Your next pick.
I feel like this one is plain and simple. We're gonna just go off the gate swinging for this round and go hard in the paint with You're a Jerk. I feel like this era personally had such a big impact on not just me, but a generation of kids. You couldn't walk anywhere during 2009, 2010 without seeing someone attempt to jerk, reject, pin drop, do all of the things. I personally feel like this was such a different style of dancing compared to what was popular at the time. And not only did this song and dance change the way that people moved, right? the structure in which people moved when it came to tutorials and dances, but it also changed fashion. We went from baggy jeans to skinny jeans. We went from dark tones to cool, bright colors. We went from Air Force Ones to Vans, right? Got to have that flexibility while you're riding around on your skateboard and then hitting the reject as you jump off. The children were united in this way, okay? Because we've got skater culture with the fashion meets Black culture, right? So again, just like I said with the walk it out, east side, north side, west side, we united the nation with You're a Jerk, honestly. We united the nation and we changed the fashion industry going forward from that point. For real. The New Boys really had a big play when it came to this dancing. But I would also say that when it comes to jerking, you also have I looked up that there was like something to do with like gangbanger culture. Do like gangbangers who would like be in the parties and like didn't want to like do the moves that were popular at the time. So it was kind of like an anti-dance. And they were like, we're gonna just do these movements. That's what I read online.
Wait. Clarification. The jerk was a dance, like an
That
anti.
Yeah, it was basically started from like the hard like thugs that were in gangs that would go to parties and felt like they were like too cool to dance
So they would
from
do
what
the
I
jerk.
read. So they started jerking. I don't know. And in their opinion and their thought process, they thought this is the anti-dance. We're anti-dancing.
It's like Chad in High School Musical. I don't dance, but he dances.
Right.
Yes,
I was like,
that
girl,
has never made
what?
sense.
I just did not understand that part when I did the research. But they felt like that's what, made them feel a little bit more comfortable. So to each its own. But jerking truly, truly, truly did shape the nation at that time. It really took over. And that's my case.
I Okay, I'll say my pick, but I'll save my other thoughts for the free period then. Okay. So for my fourth pick is coming from a song that was released in May 1990. A song that's music video won an MTV Music Video Award also in 1990 and that stayed number 1 on the charts for 21 weeks when it was released. For this pick, all I have to do is say one phrase. Stop, hammer time. And you know immediately what to do. You start shuffling around like you are on a football field, and it's impossible not to do this dance. When you hear the song, when you hear the catchphrase, MC Hammer had everybody buying those huge pants and just moving around, feet, shoulders, just high energy. And it really captures the spirit of the 90s. And I also want to remind everybody that this, just like the Kid and Play, is another kind of dance trend that is in 1990. Because the Kid and Play, all of that was also 1990. And so we come out the gate swinging in this decade. Like we got some other heavy hitters that come through every single year, but the 90s came out swinging hard with the dance trends immediately. And this is one of them that is ubiquitous, just endless reach in terms of the catchphrase, pop culture moment. And so that is my fourth pick for this battle.
So I had a little like scare moment when you're like, stop. I thought you were going to do Spice Girls, Stop Right Now. Thank you very much.
Thank
Just
you very much. I need
It's a great dance
somebody
move.
with a human
I don't know about dance
touch.
trend. So like, okay.
Imagine. Then I like lose the whole entire competition. Oh my gosh, it'll be like my favorite episode with the where the person did the instrumentals or whatever.
Oh, the scores. Mallory.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
was like one of my favorite episodes ever.
Shout out to Mallory.
Hey, Mallory.
All right, so jerk, you're a jerk. And I just found it funny. I just wrote down here what Kristen said. We united the nation with "you're a jerk." Like, it's just funny.
Put that on some merch with the other
Again with the merch. Kristen, we're giving you lots of merch ideas for 2025.
Yeah. The shop is going to be up and ready at that point.
But free period. This was a good round.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Brittany, you can go.
I need you, Shalina, to do a general call to your listeners so that if anybody can confirm the anti-dance story, that they, maybe could come on an episode or something in the future.
And explain the history behind it?
I feel like that it takes work though. Like,
yeah,
it's energy.
Like, your jerk is
like
kind of like, I feel like your jerk is like the reverse of the Running Man, kind of. Because like Running Man is
I can see that.
Kind of forward
with that, yeah.
And then your jerk, you're kind of like going backwards.
Yeah. When people were jerking, I mean, I was such a big jerk head, if you will. Like, when New Boys came out, I was literally obsessed. Like, for all the people out there who like may or may not know, I know this is niche, where we had like jerking groups. I don't know if you guys know, like the Rangers. Like, there were people who like made dance groups from this era because of the New Boys, and would make YouTube videos posting them jerking, and they would be like in the street, cars would pass by, oh, we gotta stop, guys, we gotta stop, okay, jerk again. Like, they'd be in Taco Bell jerking on tables. Like, it was truly a phenomenon, for real. Like, the kids were obsessed with it, and it was a big time for people to like monetize from that and gain popularity by creating these drinking groups. It got to the point where this drinking group is beefing with this drinking group. We jerk better.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy.
That's intense.
And like the one group that I liked called the Rangers, they started making music. Like, it went beyond the dance. Point.
This
like,
is a style.
Not only are we gonna dance, we're gonna become artists and make music. Next thing you know, they're in Chris Brown's music video. Like, it was crazy, and I was unfortunately like along for the ride. Big drinking era fan. So I would just say, like, to the point of like a rebuttal of it all, baggy pants. This era single-handedly swiped the baggy pants out into the future of the skinny jeans, and I feel like we're gonna move on to the future.
But I will maintain that the era of the skinny jeans is one that we could have bypassed.
What's
We
that?
could have did without it. Wow.
I like the skinny jeans era. But continue.
But now I'm this is slightly off topic, but now I'm like, oh, I need like a tell-all or a book or series or something about this whole like culture that like, I'm so intrigued by everything you're saying.
Yes. It was like mainly in like California for the most part, and like Bay Area, like that type of thing. I always said, like, if I wasn't from Michigan, I'd want to be from the Bay. Like, that started it, the jerking era, because I'm like, I want to be with kids, like, jerking. Like, I wanted to be from that area so bad so I could be part of a jerking crew. Like, it was serious.
That's deep. I guess if I'm going to come back to the topic and less about, like, oh, I'm just so intrigued. You know, when you think about You Can't Touch This, right? You think about MC Hammer. Like I said, it goes beyond the dance. It's a pop culture icon. It has been spoofed. What is the word? I think spoofed or whatever in skits countless times. Movies, it appears. TV shows, it makes an appearance. The reach is so far spread that it really, I don't think it maybe started fights between groups, per se, but it just it is everywhere. The reaches are everywhere. So that's all I'm gonna say on mine.
Okay, well, it is time for the final round. Round 5, Team 90s. What is your last pick?
This went by too fast. I feel like I could do this all day.
We'll do a bonus round if you guys want, like a what do you call it? Honorable mention.
Okay.
If you guys want. Yeah, we'll do that.
Okay, so the majority of my picks, which I think is also fair to say, Christian's picks come from hip hop and Black culture because, like, what is, this country without hip hop and Black culture? We set the trends. We all know that. But this final choice shifts gears just a little bit to our Spanish speaking brethren out there. So this dance trend had international appeal, perhaps almost too much because it was so widespread. My final pick, you probably already guessed it, is the Macarena. Featured in the 1993 Los Del Rio music video, this dance is so iconic that it's even still happening now, to the point where One Direction was still doing it in their videos and their dances, 2 decades later. This song spent 60 weeks on the Billboard Hot 100 single chart, which makes it one of the longest runs to this day. There was no party, no school dance, no bar mitzvah, no anything, no wedding that was safe from the influence of the Macarena. They even had those people doing it at the DNC in 1996, which I found honestly really embarrassing. I did watch a video of it. The Democratic National Congress, it was rough. But they had them doing it. That's how widespread the Macarena was. The song is so ubiquitous, so deeply ingrained in us that I bet if I started singing it right now, your limbs would just move out of their own accord to do the dance. Like, that is how powerful the Macarena is as a trend. And I think this is my final pick because it really encapsulates the power of the 90s. Like, they were so widespread that they were just bewitching. Like, there was just no way that you could sit still with any of the songs, with any of the trends. You see it, you hear it, automatically your body just starts moving. And so that's my final pick for the 90s, the Macarena. Thank
Solid last pick. That's a strong one. My limbs started going.
I see they started moving. All you gotta do is you just whisper it, Macarena, and it just happens. People just start twitching. That's the power of the 90s.
Wow. Okay. I would say that with my last pick, this one really ends that first decade of the 2000s off in such a perfect way. This dance really did also take over the nation. And I would have to say that Teach Me How to Dougie by the Cali Swag District had everybody turned up during the 2009-2010 era. Okay, because right after we were jerking, then we kind of got right into Dougieing, and that kind of all like fused together as well. We're jerking, we're Dougieing, we're all kind of just doing the dances all together. This song is so iconic, and it comes from the song My Dougie by Lil Will in 2007. And so then Cali Swag District just popularized the dance. And I feel like it's so iconic that everyone was doing it. To her point with the what was it, the DNC? We had Michelle Obama doing the Dougie. Even the Gabby Douglas meme that went viral after she won her medal and said, "Oh, we heard you're gonna do a little victory dance. Yeah, I can hit the Dougie for you guys." Inserts Gabby doing the Dougie wrong, of course, but nonetheless It was an honest attempt, and for that, we will forever put respect on Gabby Douglas's name because of it. Okay? Because what I'm not gonna do is make fun of a Black girl on national television hitting a Black dance, right? So if you're gonna bring up icons like Gabby Douglas and Michelle Obama, I feel like at the end of the day, the Dougie has the 2000s on lock because of that. Teach me how to Dougie, teach me how to Dougie. The chant, you can hear it in your dreams. Against the Macarena, my brain is automatically when I want to hit that. So
May I respond?
Was she done? I
No, no. Okay,
I rest my
continue.
case.
Okay. Okay, Brittany, free period. Go ahead.
I just want to
Let's
say,
get to the free period right now.
your brain may want to lean to the Dougie, but the body wants to Macarena. The body wants to stick the arms out. The body wants to sway the hips. Okay, so I just want us to all, your brain may say one thing, but the body's already doing the Macarena as you're thinking about the Dougie.
But I brought up the Macarena with my Crank That, my third choice, where this dance fad took over the Macarena.
Oh yeah, it beat the
that was the
record.
biggest dance trend since that.
Maybe.
So 2000s are doing it times two better.
We got bilingual dance trend appeal. Now Crank That is only in one language, but the Macarena is covering multiple bases, multiple
Bilingual,
countries.
thank you.
So it is widespread.
Yeah.
No, but it's like the Dougie compared to the Macarena. I don't know. Teach me how to teach me. I just feel like the virality of it all with the Gabby Douglas and the Michelle Obama. It's like, well, what else is there to say after that? Well, you guys have not seen the Gabby Douglas. I'm telling my audience right now listening, look up the meme. You haven't seen it.
Well, no, you better look it up right now. Pause the podcast. I do love me some Gabby Douglas, so yes.
Yes. She's actually like making a return to gymnastics. So I love that for her.
We love our Black gymnastics girlies for sure. However, everybody and their mama has done the Macarena, so you could just probably Google. Now, don't Google the DNC because, like I said, the people is embarrassing. But you can Google anybody else except for those political candidates, and you will find them doing the Macarena. But props to the choice.
I mean, yeah, and you ate with the One Direction of it all. Rest in peace, Liam Payne. But at the end of the day, the Dougie, we're still in that in 2024. Macarena, I don't know. You turn the Dougie on in the club today, everybody's getting litty. Everybody's getting litty. You turn on the Macarena today, DJ, what's the issue?
But sometimes you want something that isn't just at the club. Sometimes you want something you could play at the family reunion, at the kids' party, even.
Right.
Even though the lyrics for that song are a little,
But what are they saying in that song? I need to look it up. Now you got me thinking.
Oh yeah, you go look it up.
For the Macarena?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember learning it. It's kind of like,
I never knew that.
Should kids be saying that?
I didn't know that. I thought it was an innocent song.
No, I remember hearing about it.
I was reading about it when I was doing the research, and they think it had something to do with like Mary Magdalene, but then they changed it a bit. But yeah, it's kind of just like about your body, like basically giving your body essentially is like the gist of the song.
I'm gonna look that up again.
But you can still play it at the kids' party, so there you go.
Because them kids don't know what's going on. I get that.
Yeah, they just doing a thing,
Oh, but that Dougie's gonna hit into that African roots of it all with that beat in the back. That's gonna make you want to bounce.
That's true.
That is, yes.
But if we really, connect the dots with history, with a lot of Spanish-speaking countries, the African roots are also there.
Yep.
For other reasons that we don't have to go into in the podcast, but
commercial break.
Why? This whole episode is making us realize there needs to be a lot of research done about these dance trends and the intersectionality of races.
Part 2. That'll be. Oh man.
Oh
wow. But if I could put in my 2 cents real quick for a free period, Doogie, that's one dance move I just couldn't get. Like the hand over the head, the shoulder. Like I could never get it. I tried so hard. Like, and then the leg, it's a new year. Maybe I could try again. But
right.
back when it came out, like I struggled, and I would envy my friends who knew how to do it. I couldn't do it. I
will say
it was hard.
That dance is one that I also did not ever get. Even though all the other ones I could do, for some reason, I could never get that one.
Yeah, the coordination it was just hard.
So I too felt the envy of like, oh, you look so cool doing this, and I don't look cool at all.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I look weird.
Exactly. And then for the Macarena, I remember my cousins and I, back when we were kids in the 90s, every like Christmas party, Thanksgiving party, dinner, we'd break out. They would play it, like Uncle would play it. We would do it in the middle of everyone. Sometimes we get money for it. That was always a bonus. It's just like, did the Macarena? People handing us money. I was like, thank you. Me and my cousin.
Okay. Getting that coin at the family dinner. Yes.
So that's my fond memory of the Macarena.
I love that.
Thanks. Yeah. All right. So we will do closing statements, and then after closing statements, you each could choose another dance for your honorable mention. Okay. So for closing statements, team 2000s will go first.
All right. Well, I just want to say thank you so much, guys, for your time and your consideration. I think at the end of the day, this should be a no-brainer, in my opinion, when it comes to the 2000s, taking over the 99 heavy on 2000s. Okay, I've taken you across the entire decade, 2006, 2005, 7, 8, 9, up until 10. All of these dances have had such a big moment in Black culture, so much so to the point where, like Brittany mentioned, other races are like, we want some of that too. And it's like I said again, with the quote of my potential merch in the future, uniting the nation is what I feel like a lot of these dances that I brought to the table truly did. I've seen so many people, at different baby showers, hitting the crank that, doing the jerk, doing the reject, drunk white girls falling back tipsy because they can't figure it out. I think during COVID, the You're a Jerk and the reject became popular again. These are dances that are continuing to stand the test of time, about 10, 15 years later. And for that, I just want to say that when it comes to that decade, I just don't really think that there's anything like it. Once that decade ended, it kind of just ended there. You know what I mean? We haven't had really too many phenomenons since then, and that's history in the making. I mean, like I said with the crank that, the biggest dance fad since the Macarena. Songs that are performed at the first annual BET Hip Hop Awards. This is Black history. So when February comes and it's time for you guys to reflect, think about me. Think about the 2000s and the impact that it's had on your childhood, and say hashtag thank you, America. Thank you.
Like drop. Okay. Black History Month. Think about Kristen.
That was good.
That's right. Oh, this is so much fun.
Be saying anything. I'm sorry, guys.
Don't apologize. This is too much fun.
Think about me. And you know what? I will. Okay. Because who are we if not Black history?
Exactly.
Right.
Need to apologize. Okay, 290s, your closing statement.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I started off this journey bringing you to a house party, right? And we talked about uniting, we've talked about connecting from the west, the east, the north, the south. But I just want us to just soak in the essence of what it feels like to be at a Black house party, at a Black function, okay? There is nothing that compares to the essence of a Black function, and that is the 90s, that is the dance trends, that is the spirit of all of the moves that I brought to you. Now, I know the Macarena, it jumps a bit, but we're going to put it in anyway, and it is part of the party. We are embracing our Spanish speaking brethren in this group. And I also want to point out, along with the 90s, just being a vibe, being an energy, being a moment, a movement, if you will. These moves went viral at a time where you didn't really have internet. You didn't really have social media like that. You didn't really have, somebody walking you through things on YouTube or on the TikTok or on the Snapchat or whatever the kids use. You just had to be at the right place at the right time, or even just have it on TV and have a VCR ready to record the video so that you could do the dance moves. And so when I say like the widespread reach, this stuff spread without the internet to really spread it for them. It just was popular. You just met somebody who taught you this, and then you learned that at another party, and then you saw that on TV, and you taught that to your girl, and then y'all did that at the next function. And so it just shows the power of the 90s. Like the 2000s, I will say, there's a lot of nostalgia there for me, even though I'm a 90s baby. A lot of the teenage years was in the 2000s, and what a time that was, for better or worse. But when we talk about the era that we all kind of want to go back to, the spirit of the era we want to have if we're throwing a party, it's the 90s. It's the 90s dance trends. It's the foundation for everything. So thank you all for listening. And also thank you, Everything 90s listeners, when you vote. I appreciate you all.
Yay! Good job. Teen
Yes,
90s
loved
and
it.
teen 2000s. All right, listeners, you have a tough choice to choose which decade you think gave us the best dance trends based on Kristen and Brittany's picks. So I'll do a recap and then they'll do an honorable mention. So for round 1 was Kid and Play versus Walk It Out. Round 2 was Lean With It, Rock With It versus Tootsie Roll. Round 3, The Running Man versus Crank That. Round 4, The Jerk. Is this called Your Jerk or Jerk? It's just called Jerking.
I think the song is Your Jerk, but jerking.
Dance. Jerking. Jerking. Versus Hammer Dance, MC Hammer Dance. And the final round was Macarena versus Teach Me How to Doogie. So now, Team 2000s, I'll pass it to you for your honorable mention. What are some dance moves that didn't make your list but were still good ones?
My first one was Stanky Leg.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that one is so good, so much to the point where, like, I don't know, for the listeners out there, if you guys watched this past season of Love Island, Leah from Love Island recently did a TikTok. She was hitting the Stanky Leg. 2024, we're still hitting it. If that leg ain't stanky, you can't hang with me.
The shirt! 3 shirts from this episode. Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. The G5 boys, I believe. They hit that. So that was one of my like ones that didn't make it for sure.
Okay. How about you, Brittany?
I think I was thinking to do the Cabbage Patch in here.
How's that
and
one
I
go?
didn't. Huh?
Is that the...
Cabbage
Oh,
Patch.
that one.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
That's a good one.
So I didn't do that one. And then I think all the other ones I had actually deleted, and I just made a list of what I thought Kristen might come up with. So I really wanted to claim the Cha-Cha Slide
When was that?
be-
80s?
that's technically the first one he did was in like 98, but then the second one that like most people heard is I think came out in 2000.
Oh,
So I
Oh, because
wanted
you
to
said this
claim
is
it,
something new, the Casper Slide Part
yeah,
2.
because I'm from Chicago, and I was like, technically, I don't know if it counts, but I'm gonna claim it now in the bonus round.
Almost did the 1-2 Step by Sierra, but
that was a good
it's
one.
like, I don't know. I felt like I didn't know if that one would be a little bit too niche, but I was 1-2 and a step in 2005. Trust and believe.
Yeah, I remember. Actually, Jasmine, Shalina knows, like, our Jasmine, like, when we were in school and I came to school and I was like, okay, look, I figured it out. Like, I have a very strong memory of showing her, like, oh, I figured out how to do this dance. She
The
probably
1-2
doesn't
step?
remember this. Yeah,
Oh,
when we were kids.
oh, that's
I
sweet.
was wondering if you were gonna put Pablo I Can Drop It on here, but I don't know if that's like widespread, but that was just a very staple dance that I cannot do anymore because it's just not accessible.
I thought about that too, but I'm like, I don't know if that's just mainly Black people. So I'm like, I'm trying to find something that's
Yeah.
a little bit more widespread. But Pablo Like a Dragon, yeah, that's a good one.
I was thinking of, I feel like this was in the States as well, but the heel and toe. Was that
Oh, the heel
popular?
toe.
Yeah.
The heel toe. I
I
remember doing
still
that.
bust a mean heel toe to this day. To this day.
I remember in middle school, we were all obsessed with that.
Yeah.
Like early middle school, like grade 6, grade 7, school dances. There's like a specific song, like when some of the reggae songs would come on, like we would bust the heel and toe. So you guys
I
call
do
it
a
heel toe?
Yeah, over
Okay, we
here,
called it
at
heel
least
and toe.
Michigan.
Oh,
Yeah, we call
really?
it the heel toe, and we hit it with the pancake at the same time.
Oh,
So I would
don't know the
hit the heel
pancake.
toe, the pancake, man.
Oh, that's something new. Okay, then I'll add that. That's when I busted out the pancake.
That was my combo, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm gonna kill him with this one." I thought I was
So
eating.
what?
I thought I ate. Give me that plate.
Okay, but you did though. I'm sure you did. They wasn't ready.
I left a few crumbs.
Love that. Oh man. And then the there's one I was thinking of. Oh, I forget it now. Is it Crank That? This is Crank That?
Yeah.
But then you have the It's
What's the
Going
one?
Down, Meet Me at the Mall.
Yes,
It's Going
that's the one I
Down,
was
Young
thinking
Jock.
of. So it's kind of like the same thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I was thinking of that song.
That almost made the list too, but I'm like, many people don't know Young Jock outside of Love and Hip Hop.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Ouch.
He's got a new
That
bad
sucks.
reputation.
Does he? Oh
Yes.
no. Oh no. Oh. All right. Well, that concludes today's episode, and thank you so much, Brittany and Kristen, for coming on another episode of Everything 90s. This was a lot of fun, and I'll give you both the space to share your podcast with my listeners and where they can find you and support you. So we'll begin with Kristen.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I had such a good time with you, Shalina and Brittany. Oh my gosh, this was like so nostalgic, such a blast from the past. Like, especially even though I was representing the 2000s, like I am technically a 90s baby. So it was nostalgic to get some of those 90s dances back in the brain. I got to do my research and look that up for real. But yes, so make sure you guys, vote for Team 2000s though. I feel like I had good, strong arguments, and you guys can listen to my podcast A Little Bit a Lot on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok at A Little Bit a Lot Podcast. And I've also gotten into coloring. Shalina has too. I have a coloring
because
account.
of you.
Yes. So we've been like bonding over that for the last couple of weeks. I loved your book that you found. I was like, of course you found the 90s
Thank you.
coloring book. That is so cute. I need to get it.
Amazon.
Yeah. So me and Shalina have been in our coloring era, and I have an account called Coloring with Kristen where I post that on YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok as well. So follow me on there too. Your girl has been getting into her cozy hobby era in 2024.
Love that.
Too cozy hobbies, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I always have to look at the links because I always mess this up. But you can find us in hindsight. We are on like Spotify, Apple, kind of all those regular places the podcasts are, and also Instagram at in hindsight pod. Technically, we have a Twitter. It's not very well maintained, but it's there
Same.
so it's the same, but look on Instagram first, then maybe go to Twitter second. But yeah, we just did a season on like kind of Black high school and college movies, and then we're going to be moving into some more, so a TV show actually. And so yeah, you can find our episodes there.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'll say it one more time, but listeners, don't forget to vote. Make sure you vote.
Please vote.
Last year, there's a couple of episodes where a few people were messaging me on Instagram. Oh, I forgot to vote. Vote because it makes a difference. There was times when Team 2000 and Team 90s were like tied, and then next day one person voted. So like, don't forget to vote, please, please, please. And this year the voting is on Spotify, making it a bit more simple as opposed to the Google Docs. So vote, vote, vote. And if you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend and leave a review. You could also leave a review on my website or on Apple Podcasts. And if you're listening on Spotify, you could also leave a comment under this episode. So that's a new feature for Spotify. Thank you again, listeners, for your support, and see you in the next one. Take care.